Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Vision of Life. I am Adibola Arojesu. Like, share, and subscribe. This channel is dedicated to empowering Nigerian youth, the African youth, and by extension, the world youth. But I found out that we are so much the same in this world. We are so much the same. As someone who have been doing parts of the Atlantic, I've lived in America as a kid. I lived some of my life in Nigeria. I've been in the UK since 2019. Found out that we're so similar. It's unfortunate that we focus on our differences. We are so similar. So I believe everybody has something to learn. Everybody has something to glean. This is the sixth video, and all the first five videos, who that watch it across different religions, different climes, different age group, different creed. Everybody gleans something from it. Also, like, share, and subscribe. Give your offering. Your offering here is like, sharing, and subscribe. So don't forget that. Do that now before you get excited, before you get carried away, because I know a lot of you will be excited. So let's get started. Today is titled Civilian Control of the Military. Civilian Control of the Military. Civilian Control of the Military, yes. I was watching CNN some years back and they mentioned this topic, civilian control of the military. Then it sort of caught me aback. You know, there's a concept like that. When he said it, it showed that there was a concept. So the concept actually called civilian control of the military. Then I just curious, I googled. I thought there were tons of things with that concept, civilian control of the military. And there's a reason, like it's a like philosophy is a thing that's done in America. It's a policy that you civilian control of the military. In America is not perfect. They're the father of democracy, the world. We look on the democracy. They will also learn from their mistakes. The advantage of being a late starter is you can learn from those who have gone ahead. Because we Nigerians, friends say, oh, America, we're new, we're just 60 years old, we're just 25 years democracy. That's not an excuse for us to be backward. The excuse for us to even be ahead. We can learn from the mistakes of others. You don't have to go through the same mistake. You don't have to fall into the same ditch. That's why mentorship is important. So that somebody's hindsight can be your foresight. Somebody started, he didn't know the journey, he has not been on the journey before, so he made many mistakes, which is natural. So you're not the pioneer, others have gone before you, maybe thousands have gone before you, you don't have to make the same mistake. So today we're talking about civilian control of the military. And because we Nigerians, we have this mindset, military mindset, because most of our nationhood, we got in 1960, when I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is our 63rd year, if I'm not mistaken, of independence. And most of the years have been under military. So, consciously and unconsciously, we've been militarized. Our minds are militarized. Our minds are militarized. Then we see things sort of military perspective. Even our politicians, despite the fact that we feel a democracy, you see some of them still behaving like soldiers, doing what soldiers did. And maybe because they've seen nothing but that. Many of them grew up under the military. They watch military governors, military head of states. So then they have this military. You can, I think somebody was saying, do this immediate effect, automatic alacrity, or civilian person, because we've under the military for so long. So we need to break out of it, break out of it. I think this is our 25th year of democracy, if I'm not mistaken. By the time we break out of that military toga, and in as much as military are responsible for a lot of our problems, you can't blame them for everything. Sometimes military say, we've been gone for 25 years. How long will you going to need to blame us? So the double-edged sword. They are likely to blame for some things, but they can't blame for everything. And they have a case. If they say that we've been gone for 25 years, they start blaming us. We know that a lot of military are still in power. You know, we had some military presidents. Some who are military governors came back as civilian governors. Many former military are all over. They're in the legislature, they're in the executive, they're all over, but it's still not an excuse. So back to the concept of civilian control of the military. Going to America, I noticed most of the war presidents didn't have military experience. Abraham Lincoln was military for about 3 months, but he saw no battle. So you might say, from a certain point of view, from that angle, technically, you might say, how no military experience. He saw no battle. And of course, George Washington was in the British Army, and that's what inspired them to make it the American Revolutionary Army. Woodrow Wilson, who prosecuted the First World War, America was the lead in winning the First World War. Woodrow Wilson who led the American First World War, and by implication led the world the First World War, had no military experience. Then this may shock some of you. Frank Delano Roosevelt, many people assume he had military experience. I've seen somebody talking publicly, boasting about Delano Roosevelt's military experience. Let me shock you. Frank Delano Roosevelt had no military experience. Another mistake. Frank Delano Roosevelt had no military experience. It is natural and easy to think he had military experience because he led the Allies to victory in World War II. Yes, was the president to have ruled for, he won 4 elections, won for 4 times. He died shortly after he was elected for the 4th time. And part of why he had to contest reluctantly at the 4th time was that, he couldn't just put his hand off the plow because the war was at the peak. At the 3rd time, he broke precedent by going for 3rd term. That rings a bell to some Nigerians. Some people have thought of 3rd time. Nigeria considers themselves 2 times, but sometimes some people have thought the 3rd time. In America, there was no law. George Washington did 2 terms and step aside. Anybody following that president, Delano went for the 3rd, broke president. After he won for the 4th time, they made a law they can't go more than 2 terms. But part of why he had to stay so long was he was at the forefront of prosecuting the war. But he had no military experience. That should tell us something. He led the Allies to victory. He defeated Hitler. Even though he died shortly before the war ended, Harry Truman took over. But he continued from where, that sounds familiar, continued from where Roosevelt stopped. So the bottom line is that you do not really need military experience to be a commander-in-chief. That's where I'm going. Cut long story short. Because we have this mentality in Nigeria, someone who grew up in Nigeria, that the president must be former military. The president, commander-in-chief, was former military. And we are fond of saying, I know what I'm saying, many people are fond of saying that once the president has military experience, say he's weak. I said it again, once the president has military experience, say he's weak. But that is misplaced. It's like we have reduced the commander-in-chief to a general. I said it again. We have reduced the commander-in-chief to a general. Commander-in-chief is different from a general. Commander-in-chief is far from a general. The gap is very, very far, as far as they are from the earth. So we have reduced commander-in-chief to a general, and that's the mistake we are making. We used to have the commander-in-chief used to have a wide experience. Those things from a narrow point of view. Those things just from the field. Those things from the war front. There's a wider perspective. Apart from what's going to the forefront, there are many things surrounding influence what goes on the war front. So that when a general is commander-in-chief, all he thinks is the war front, the war front, the war front. There's more to security than the war front. There's more to defense than the war front, even in this modern day and age. We have 47 American presidents up to date. 31 had military experience, 16 did not have military experience. 16 didn't have military experience. So majority had military experience, 16 didn't have military experience, but they ruled effectively. So it shows that you don't really have to have military experience. You do not really have to have military experience. You do not really have to have military experience. The President Donald Trump, the 14 or 47 president, he doesn't have military experience. But immediately he has won the election, people start to reshape because people know who he is, people know what he stands for. Some people knew before he became president the first time. People knew how his tenure was the first time. People knew what he stood for. And it was said, I watched some programs, some bloggers before the election. It was said that they have no respect for Biden. World leaders have no respect for Biden. That's what people said. World leaders have no respect for Kamala Harris. That's what people said. That people are the opinion that if Trump wins, world leaders will respect him. I mean, when he won, people start to readjust. Ukraine, Russia, they made some readjustment. Israel, Palestine, they made some readjustment. Even though it's not a former military, they know what it stands for. And people are really readjusting. So you don't have to be a former military. You don't have to be a former military. That's what I'm going to. And the military and former military, they use this to perpetuate themselves in power. They use this narrative to perpetuate themselves in power. And we are falling for it. Keep an open mind. If you really look at it, security in Nigeria is worse when we have military or former military in power. We have military or former military as commander-in-chief. The security situation is worse. And since somebody who has been studying Nigerian history, my mom was a history teacher. She's still alive. She's retired. That's why I said she was a history teacher. Yes. Some people back in Nigeria say, no, she was a government teacher because they don't teach history in Nigerian school. That's why she taught government for most of her life. But she's not teaching history. She's more of a history teacher. She actually missed teaching history. When I asked her, how come people don't do history? She said it's because they are lazy. Well, what happens is that history, people complain that there are a lot of notes, voluminous notes. People like the easy way nowadays. Then people complain you have to memorize dates. So usually, if you're an art student, as you said in Nigeria, as it's called in Nigeria, you are usually to choose between government and history. Most people choose government because they see it's sort of easier. I was a science student in secondary school, as some of you watching know. At one point in SS2, that's the fifth year of secondary school, I toyed with the idea. We have 6 years of secondary school in Nigeria. The first 3 years called junior secondary school, GSS 1 to 3. Last 3 years, SS1 to SS3, senior secondary school. So on SS2, my fifth year, I toyed with the idea of becoming an art student. And there's one of my friend, Entroper. I wanted to borrow his government notes to copy. For some personal reasons, he said, well, Bola, I don't want you to do government. He had his reasons. That he too thought of changing to history, but he's already in too deep. That I should offer history and not government. I said, no, that I made up my mind to offer government. That I believe I can cope, I believe I can manage. Eventually, things get went on. I had a chairman and I finished as a science student, as we say in Nigeria. Although you will say that I later became an art student because I did accounting. I did accounting. But I have a science background in a secondary school. So what I'm saying is that the former military, present military, they just use that narrative. They just use that narrative to perpetuate themselves in power. And they capital for their own selfish reasons. And they capitalize on ignorance of Nigeria. That's why I'm going there. Part of the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. It is the unbeliever. I say, my own people perish for lack of knowledge. And there is no substitute for knowledge. There's this popular saying, wants to be millionaire, what you don't know, you don't know. So, at the height of the information age, there's a lot of ignorance in Nigeria, and it breaks my heart. About my mother reading history, yes, since she read history, she has been telling me history stories from childhood. I said this in another video. So I've known history from childhood. So some history that some of you adults don't know till now. I knew those history from childhood. Apart from that, I've been an avid reader. I started reading newspapers since I was 7 years old, in 1979. And I can remember I watched Shagari's inauguration in 1979 from beginning to the end. I was 7 years old. That time we were in Zaria. We lived in Zaria, Campus New Extension. And I read the next day New Nigeria. So I've been reading papers since 1979 when I was 7. I'm 53 now. That's on 46 years. And then, so I've taken time to study. I've taken time to study. Somebody who studies something, you see differently from people just, being sentimental. Most of we Nigerians, when it comes to politics, we operate with impulse, sentiment, and emotion without thinking. We just say things out of ignorance. And political class is using it to manipulate us. Also, I'm reading magazines. Then, I've read magazines since I was 13. 1985, when Newswatch came out. I've been reading magazines. My father used to buy it, doesn't miss it, and I used to read it. Newswatch is out. I decided it was 2 naira, then it became 2 naira 50 kobo. Some of you may find it difficult to believe. One day when I was a staff from Yes is learning, when secondary school learning, a vendor came to the staff room. So one teacher wanted to buy Newswatch. The vendor says 2 naira 50 kobo. She said, no, I'm not buying. It was too expensive for him then. Then Tell came out in 1991. I started reading Tell from inception. My father used to buy Tell. The news started in 1993. I'm talking about magazines now. I started reading the news in 1993 in inception. The editors of Tell, they brought from Newswatch. It was time the moment they set on, after being tutored in Newswatch, they set up their own. They called it Tell. The editors of the news, they had a disagreement with Abiola, who was the publisher of the Concord magazine. They broke out and established the news. When I was a student, I used to buy magazines in the Zaria Congo. The vendors knew me. I was different. I was their best customer because other students just come and read, call it free dash. I used to buy magazines. So the vendor wants to see me from afar. His body language changes. The vendors recognize my presence. So I've taken time to study Nigeria. That's where I'm going. So when you go to Nigeria, I don't operate with sentiment, impulse, and emotion. By His grace, I'm well informed. And that's why when I was back in Nigeria, when people talk, make noise about politics, and I just keep quiet. Because they just talk out. They just, at this height of information, there's so much ignorance. There's too much ignorance. And sometimes when you are well informed, you argue with ignorant people, you now look like an ignorant person. You now look, so like you're the wise person, you now look like the foolish among the foolish. And the foolish look like the wise. So I tend to steal from all these arguments because people don't appreciate and people don't want to learn. Some people are comfortable with ignorance. Some people say ignorance is bliss. Some people are blissfully ignorant. But still, I continued. I used to work in an electricity company in Nigeria, the former National Electric Power Authority, NEPA. We used to call it NEPA. The name have changed several times. Even in NEPA, people are arguing, I don't used to join. But later, some people meet me nicodinously, Nick at night. Mr. Regis, please, I know you tell the truth. What do you feel about this thing? I tell some, because some people still come and they don't want to hear the truth. They want you to justify what's really in their mind. But I'm saying that the military and the former military, they perpetuate themselves in power for their own selfish ends because of people's ignorance. That's people's ignorance. And one thing about someone who have been studying Nigeria, found out that the military president, they don't usually buy weapons. Yes. Shehu Shagari, who ruled from 1983, he bought weapons. Was overthrown by Muhammadu Buhari. He ruled for some 20 months. To, August 27, 1985, he did not buy any weapon. Then came Babangida, the evil genius, the Maradona. He ruled for 8 years. He did not buy any weapon. Then came Abacha. Before maybe the Australian Commander 82, interim government was interim. So not much can be said about that. Then came Abacha, Sen Abacha. He ruled for 5 years. He didn't buy any weapons. He did not buy any weapons. Yana Salam came for about 11 months. He didn't buy any weapons. Obasanjo came back. He was civilian, came as military. Sorry, he was military. Came back as civilian 20 years later. He didn't buy any weapons. Facts. Facts. The Yar'Adua came. Yar'Adua ruled for 3 years. Yar'Adua bought weapons. So, 83, the last time weapons were bought was Shagari was a civilian. For about 16 years, if I'm not mistaken, they didn't buy a single military weapon until Yar'Adua came and bought weapons. Then Babangida, he deliberately weakened the military. Said they won't be able to plan coups. So if you are Nigerian, he had of the 1990 Gideon Oka coup, which shook. It shook Babangida government to the foundations, but they failed. They failed. And that time, Babangida strategically, systematically weakened the military formation so that they won't be able to plan coup. And it's affecting the military till today. It's affecting the war against terrorism. After Yar'Adua was Goodluck Jonathan. Yar'Adua ruled for 3 years, he bought weapons. Goodluck Jonathan ruled for 5 years, he bought weapons. Then, after Jonathan came Buhari. Buhari acquired the weapons Jonathan had already paid for. For a larger part, he didn't buy weapons. He eventually bought some, the Tucano jets that he ordered from Trump, that time met with Trump. But to a great extent, weapons were not bought. So you can see why we are not winning the war against terrorism when you are not buying weapons. You spend billions on the military, billions on defense, billions, trillions of naira, billions of dollars on security. You're not buying weapons. It's like you spend billions in hospital and you're not buying drugs. You're not buying hospital equipment. You spend billions on education. You're not buying books. Yeah? It's awesome. So, part of where we are today is because of the military incursion into government, even democracy. We've had some military presidents, about 2 military presidents, and that military something is still in them. Yeah. So, at this point, I should say, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. So, the military are heavily politicized. During the military, during the military regime of 16 years, it was heavily politicized. And for that, there was 13 years military rule before they handed over to civilians. That Shagari was overthrown by Buhari, and there was 16 years military rule. So it has really weakened Nigerian security, and that is the truth. It has really weakened Nigerian security. During the military era, they left their primary focus. They are not trained to be politicians. They are not trained to govern. It's like a doctor displays the architect doing the work of an architect. Architect displays lawyer doing the work of a lawyer. Maybe a lawyer displays the surveyor doing the work of a surveyor who was not trained. And clearly, okay, that surveyor is illegal, he's corrupt, and then somebody who's not a surveyor takes over. Say, practice makes perfect. Eh? When you learn, you make mistakes. When you are practicing, you learn and you improve yourself, practice makes perfect. When you know priorities cannot be perfect. So when the military, they left their primary duty and focus on government, their military duties will suffer. Just like me, don't get me wrong, I was trained as an accountant, but I never really practiced accounting before. The only time I formally practiced accounting was during my service here, 1 year. And as a copper, as you call it in Nigeria, corps member, there's limited assignments they'll give you. So I can't claim to know accounting more than my colleagues who practice accounting. I worked in an electricity company for 11 years in Nigeria. I distributed bills, disconnected defaulting customers, cut light as you see in Nigeria. I read meters. When it comes to that, I know more than my fellow accountants. If someone who has been working in maybe auditing department, whatever, I can't claim no accounting more than him. But when it comes to the NEPA issue, distributing bills, cutting lighting meter, I know all my accounting colleagues. I found myself in the United Kingdom. I'm a health worker. So I cannot claim that I know more than my colleagues who are practicing accounting. If it comes to maybe changing pads or washing bottom, as somebody said, hoisting patients, things like that, I could be better than my colleagues that are accountant. I'm a qualified accountant. If I'm given an accounting job, I can do it. I can do it. Of course, when you work somewhere, you will learn the rules because different accounting departments have what they do, tailor their organization. Maybe that how accounting for a farm, we do from accounting from hospital. Accounting from hospital, we do from accounting for the military. So if I'm blessed as accountant, I was just not given the chance. I'm blessed as I can do it. Like I will learn the rules. I can't clean it better than someone who's been practicing accounting. I think many of my mates in Nigeria are deputy directors, some are directors, some are chief accountants like that. I can't claim to know accounting more than them because I'm not practicing accounting. So when the military have left their primary duty, it has derailed our defense. It has derailed the fight against terrorism, and it's still showing till now. It's still affecting our security till now. We should not allow ourselves to be manipulated. The purpose of this YouTube channel is to enlighten people because there's too much ignorance in Nigeria. Someone who grew up in Nigeria, lived most of my life in Nigeria, I used to marvel at the ignorance. Even lawyers, doctors, professors, pastors, imams, people that should know better. It's something and I check, did this person really say this? This person is educated, did he really say this? So they capitalized on our ignorance. And I found that we've descended to the level of the politicians. When people join politics or politicians, whether you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're a professor, people descend to the level of the politicians for political expediency. You pretend to be foolish, you are wise, you pretend to be foolish to please politician. But if you are pretending to be foolish, then you're actually foolish. Say, be careful you are pretending to be, because you're actually being that person who you are pretending to be. So let us wise enough. What we have now is Stockholm syndrome, fear, mental slavery, self-hate, and it is not helping us. We are not getting anywhere with it. We have brains, We have 86 billion glial cells, 86 billion neuron cells, we have 170 billion cells. 170 billion brain cells. We should use it. Many motivational speakers found us say that we don't use most of our brain. Even Albert Einstein, as bad as he was, used only 20% of his brain. That our brain has a large capacity. Imagine 170 billion cells. But some disagree, possibly biologists. I watched a video where they showed how we actually use all of our brain. But I think I prefer the narrative that says we use just 20% because we use all of our brain and we allow ourselves to manipulate it, we allow ourselves to be deceived. Come on, wake up, Nigerians. Wake up, youth. Wake up, Nigerians. Wake up, youth. Let's break away this inertia. We want things to get better. We're not willing to pay the price. We just think God just come and do it. We keep praying for the right thing. We are doing the wrong thing. I think God just come and turn everything around. Come on, Federal Deed is dead. Nigeria is the most praying country in the world. Where has the prayer gotten us? Because Bible says watch and pray. But like we pray, we don't watch. We pray, we don't watch. Pray, we don't watch. That's why these are not working. If it was prayer alone, Nigeria will be the greatest country in the world, and no country will even come near us. Nigeria will be the greatest country in the world forever till kingdom come. It's not just about prayer. It is not just our prayer. We have brains. Let us use our brains. There's this Eric Hartman said, war is a place where the youths who don't know each other, who don't hate each other, kill each other, on the orders of old men who hate each other, know each other, but do not kill each other. I'll tell you again, Eric Hartman said that war is a place where the youths who don't know each other, who don't hate each other, they kill each other because of the instructions of old people who know each other, who hate each other but not kill each other. They did say that old men declare war, but the youth fight and die. This insecurity in Nigeria, the youths are the ones dying. The youths are the ones dying. The youths are the ones recruited as terrorists. The youths are the ones who kill. Most of the other Nigerians who are being killed are youths. Being displaced are youths. ID camp, they're youths. Being raped, being forced to murder children are youths. When they go to a place, destroy the whole land, massacre everybody. They're mostly youths. They kill women, kill children. They're mostly youths. Extrajudicial killings, those who are killed are mostly youths. So, for how long will we be serving the old blind lady, the old guy blind lady, who don't have a best wish at heart? Come on. We are the ones that need the change. We are the ones that affect. We should make a change. 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 Another thing that says, buy the embassy hydrology and not saying no, that the way chicken is presented in the market determines the value you place on it, how much money you're ready to pass with it. We've cheapened ourselves in the face of the old guard. The old guard disrespect us. They have no respect for us. Everything is rigged against us. They make policies that harm us, that kill us, and we're still there praising them. They're the only ones that can do it. Wake up, Nigerian youth. Wake up, Nigerian youth. There's this popular position by Abacha, General Sani Abacha. I'm not his biggest fan, but there's merit to what he said. He's a war general. Was not an armchair general. So that if insurgency persists for more than a day, that the government official is involved. I said again, if insurgency persists more than a day, the government official is involved. I said again, said if insurgency persists more than a day, the government official is involved. How long has insurgency persisted in Nigeria? More than a day, more than a year, many years. At least, maybe as far back as 2014, thereabouts. See how insurgency has persisted. They politicize it. Political expediency. It's like we're not yet ready to defeat the terrorists. Like we're not yet ready to end insecurity. When are we going to be ready? Until we're all dead, until foreigners come, wipe out the whole of Nigeria, take over, the rest of us survive will become slaves. Because we can't just keep doing the wrong thing and think the right thing will happen. We can't keep doing the same thing, expect a different result. So please, our destiny is in our hands. I said, well, nobody's going to save us. So you're your own Messiah. Nobody's going to save us. Nobody's going to save you. The old guard are not going to save you. Think about it too. The old guard have been, but they haven't saved us. So they keep condemning us, blaming us, saying you are lazy, blah, 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 blah. We need to do something about it. We read about David and Goliath, but do we believe it? We quote even like we preach about it, do we believe it? David defeated Goliath. Even though Goliath had more experience, he was older, he was bigger, he was stronger. So wisdom is relatively direct. Military strategy, winning is not just about power, brute force. Abraham Lincoln said that, nothing succeeds with public opinion behind it. Sorry, nothing fails, public opinion behind it. And nothing succeeds, public opinion against it. So we have conceded our destiny to the old people who don't care about us. All I'm really saying is they didn't really care about us. Who are just looking at us while we are being killed. We need to put our destiny in our hands. I look at this old guy in charge. They're not going to end terrorism. Come on, think about it. We need to take charge. We need to step up. We need to save Nigeria. I always say that God has a special plan for Nigerians. God wants to use the Nigerian youth to change the world. Change Nigeria, change Africa, and change the world. I said before, quoted somebody that the map of Africa is shaped like a gun. West Africa is the trigger, and Nigeria is the trigger. So Nigeria is going to change the world. Nigerians are going to change the world. I said that Mandela said the black man cannot gain respect until Africa, until Nigeria. This is the black man cannot gain respect until Nigeria first gain that respect. The destiny of every black man is tied to Nigeria. Are we living up to it? Won't Mandela be ashamed of us if he turn in his grave? We have the number. Some percent of Nigerians are below 30. So all people should not ruin us. Now people, they don't even care about us. Banning Twitter, condemning social media, what is this? Cryptocurrency coming against it, judicial killing of youths, blame youths at every turn, at every opportunity. Come on. So youths, you need to take over. I said, well, nobody's coming to save us, so we have to save ourselves. Waiting forever. Waiting forever. I said, the Remember the first law of motion. The body will remain static or uniform motion unless force is exerted upon it. A body will remain in uniform motion or static unless force is exerted upon it. You need to break the inertia. It's inertia that makes the body to be in uniform motion or static. Unless you break it, it will stay there. There have been inertia in Nigeria since 1960, since 1999. We're waiting for God. God is not going to do it. He has put the king and chariots in our hand, therefore us to take them. We're waiting for God to wait forever because He's not going to do what you can do. God's not going to do what you can do. Let's just stop praying, and say, God can't help you write an exam. We specialize things, but we eat, we go to the toilets, we poo. So you don't ask God, should I eat? When you're hungry, eat. You don't ask God, should I drink water? Should I go to the toilet? Should I poo? Should I wee? Should I go to work today? Should I fuel my car? There are decisions we can take by ourselves. We're waiting on God. God is waiting on us. Who's going to blink first? Let's stop being over spiritual. Let's stop over spiritualizing things. Let us take over. Until you take over, Nigeria keeps spiraling down. And security will still getting worse. And the military and former military will keep dominating us for their own selfish end. So a word is enough for the wise. What's wise spoken? That's what we had. Is it saying that the Bible say that abo oro to form on abi, but then you did half a word is enough for a wise child. When he gets it multiplied, there's reason why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. When we talk, you say what you already know. When you listen. When you are quiet, you listen. So I've said a lot. Please, youths, our destiny is in our hands. Our destiny in our hands. Our destiny in our hands. Our destiny in our hands. Let us know that too. So this is Vision of Life. Like, share, and subscribe. I remain Adibola Arojesu. See you in the next video. Bye.